Hey guys, Sean here and welcome to the F1 Word. Now, silly season is in full swing and following Sebastian Vettel's decision to leave Ferrari at the end of the year, Carlos Sainz's move to replace him, and Daniel Ricciardo's switch to McLaren, attention has turned to the two currently open seats at Mercedes. It is expected, and I'd be surprised if he didn't, that Lewis Hamilton will re-sign with the team for 2021 and possibly beyond. But when it comes to Valtteri Bottas, his position with the team is far less certain, so if Hamilton stays, who will be his teammate next year? Well, one thing is for sure, these Silver Arrows won't be short of options. After all, they are the team to beat, and most drivers on the grid would love the chance to get behind the wheel of a Mercedes. Realistically though, there are probably only 4 options, and one of those is really more about wishful thinking than anything else. The first and perhaps most obvious option would be to keep their current driver Valtteri Bottas on for another year. He has proven many times that he has good speed. He has also continued to deliver very good consistency, which has in turn helped the team secure the last 3 Constructors' titles. And he's also demonstrated that he's willing to play the team game when called upon, at least once his own championship chances have faded away. And last year, although he did end up 87 points behind Lewis Hamilton, the Finn still improved massively compared to his 2018 form, certainly the back end of 2018, and even managed to match his teammates' tally of 5 pole positions, not something many predicted at the start of the year. And ultimately, the partnership of Hamilton and Bottas has worked extremely well for Mercedes since 2017, and so as the saying goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, or at least why fix it? Sebastian Vettel has also been linked heavily with the team, although he is the one that probably falls under the wishful thinking category. The German will leave Ferrari, as we all know, at the end of this year, and if Mercedes fancy having a super team lineup, he would be a great choice. After all, he is a 4-time world champion. He is also German, which from a marketing point of view would be a smart move for the team, or at least their parent company. The talk of a move to Brackley, though, has cooled recently, and earlier this week, Valtteri Bottas said that the team have given him a pretty straight message that no, they are not considering Seb. And although it would be incredible to finally see Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel go up against each other in equal machinery, in all honesty, the only way I personally see Seb driving a Mercedes is if Hamilton decides to walk away at the end of this year. I just cannot see them having 2 number 1 drivers in 2021. Look how things ended up between Hamilton and Rosberg. I don't think they'll want to put themselves in that position again, especially now that Ferrari and Red Bull are more of a threat. That could be a disaster when it comes to the championship. I suppose the best way to sum up Vettel as an option is to say that it would be cool to see as a fan, but Merc aren't likely to take that risk. They want to win titles and so will do what's best for them and not make a driver choice based on what's best for a chunk of the fan base. Toto Wolff has recently stated that the team's 2021 lineup decision will be made based on the long term rather than the short term, so that instantly throws George Russell right into the mix. The young Brit is highly rated by a lot of people in F1, and many in the know have been impressed with how he performed in his first season. It's actually quite hard as fans to judge how he did, as he was driving a pretty terrible car, and the only real comparison we have is how he did up against his teammate, and his teammate was a driver who had been out of the sport for a hell of a long time. What most of us can appreciate, though, is that he clearly has a huge amount of talent and a hell of a lot of potential. But is it too soon for him to literally go from the very back of the grid to the very front? Well, in some ways, this could actually be the perfect time for him. What better driver to help you learn, to have as a mentor, if you like, than Lewis Hamilton, a 6, perhaps come 2021 7-time world champion? It would also give Russell time to settle in at the team before the rule changes come in 2022, and frankly, he's a quick lad, so why not give him that chance? After all, as I'm sure many will point out, Red Bull and Ferrari have both taken that gamble with their young drivers. But here's the thing for me. When Red Bull promoted Gasly and eventually Albon, and when Ferrari gave Leclerc his chance, both teams were in a position where really they didn't have anything to lose, whereas Mercedes have got everything to lose. Whilst it is quite feasible that Russell could rock up and do a great job, there is always that risk that he struggles, and that could cost the team the world title. So they've got to weigh up that risk versus any potential reward. There is, in my opinion at least, a 4th option, and that is Esteban Ocon. Yes, he is very much the outsider, and let's face it, if Mercedes were that keen on signing him, they would have given him that chance last year, or at the very least loaned him to Renault rather than loosening their ties with him. However, they chose to let him move to Renault on a multi-year deal, and last year Cyril Abiteboul was clear that Mercedes will have absolutely no rights on him for the duration of his contract. However, Toto Wolff and Mercedes do still manage Ocon, and let's face it, if they wanted him, they could easily get him. It might cost them some money, they might have to buy out that contract, or at the very least they might need to help Renault find another driver, which is where these rumours of Bottas' management allegedly talking to Renault could well come into this story. If Mercedes did decide that they do want Ocon after all, Offering Bottas in a sort of swap deal could work out well for both teams, and quite frankly, Renault really could do with a driver like Bottas right now. But you could also argue that if Mercedes were looking to promote a young driver, they'd surely go with Russell now. And why didn't they take Ocon last year if they were that keen on him? Was it just Bottas's performances, or was there something more? I mean, as of right now, I'm not expecting to see the Frenchman in a Mercedes next year. But don't completely write him off just yet. We haven't even seen the drivers race this year, let alone anything else. And so if he were to have a really good season with Renault, Bottas perhaps falls away, and the team feel it's too much of a gamble to promote Russell at the moment, Ocon could well be back in the frame. It's unlikely, but it's not impossible. So then, who do I think will be racing for Mercedes next year? Well, as already mentioned, I think Lewis Hamilton will stay put. I can't see any reason why he would want to leave, to be honest. He's still enjoying his racing. No other team appear capable of giving him the car Mercedes can. And with pretty much this year's car being used next year, chances are he will be in with a great shot of winning the title for the next 2 seasons. Plus, he is on the brink of breaking even more records. So I just can't see him going anywhere, and that would tie up that seat at Mercedes and really probably rules out Sebastian Vettel. If I were in Mercedes' position, I would more than likely go with Russell. It would be a gamble, there's no denying that, but I think based on what Williams and Mercedes have both said about him, and what we can take from his driving last season, I think he's worth that gamble. As much as I like Norris and Albon, drivers who came up from F2 with him, and who have both ended up in decent seats, in my view, Russell is the better all-round driver of the three, and he's absolutely wasted in that Williams. So that's what I do, give Russell that chance, but I'm just not convinced Merc will take that gamble. Again, they have everything to lose. And so I think they will probably stick with Bottas for 2021 and then assess Russell's second season in F1, and his third season of course, and perhaps look to promote him for 2022. What I will finish by saying though is that if they don't take George, I really hope they can find him a seat elsewhere that will allow him to race hard in the midfield and demonstrate to everybody just what he can do. Like I say, he's wasted at Williams right now. So Bottas stays where he is for 2021 and Russell moves to Mercedes in 2022. That's my prediction. That is it for this video though, but you can as ever let me know your thoughts down in the comments section, and also, other than the drivers I've already mentioned, do you think there is anybody else in contention for that second seat at Mercedes? In before somebody says Fernando Alonso. Now, I will be back soon with another video, but in the meantime, don't forget that you can of course follow me over on social media, and all of the links you need for that are in the description down below. But as ever, thank you for watching, and hopefully I will catch you again in the next one. Bye bye.